Okay, so I'm going to call the May 12th meeting of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board to order. The time is 11:02. Raymond, would you do roll call to confirm a quorum, and then let me know if there are any public comment?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Bettis?
Present.
Ms. Byrd?
Present.
Ms. Enriquez?
Here.
Ms. Stevens? And Mr. Reyes is out today.
Okay, good. We have a quorum. Any public comment today?
No, ma'am. None received.
Okay, fine. So with that, we'll move to item number 2, adoption of the minutes from the board meeting of April 12th, 2023. They were sent to you with the agenda. Does anyone have any comments or amendments?
Move to approve.
I have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 3. Discussion and action on board resolutions authorizing the execution of amendments to the following instruments as they relate to the Valley Chili Road project. A, the interlocal with the Village of Vinton, and B, the work authorization number 40 with Atkins North America, Inc.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for accommodating the move of the meeting date. Today is read into the record. We're dealing with Valley Chili Road project. We've got 2 items for you. As a reminder, we discussed this project last month where we had an advanced funding agreement with TxDOT where TxDOT was providing the federal funds for the project. What you see today then are actions related to the use of the local funds. So we have an interlocal agreement existing with the Village of Vinton right now where we agreed to develop the design services for this particular project. And what we're doing under item 3A is amending that interlocal to allow us to now begin the right-of-way acquisition process. So that's what you see here. It allocates $100,000 from the Village of Vinton to the RMA to provide the local match for the right-of-way acquisition. And then under item 3B, you see a work authorization amendment for Atkins North America, who is our general engineering consultant team, and they will be providing the right-of-way acquisition services. So you see that agreement as part of your backup as well. So subject to your questions, I would recommend approval. Oh, incidentally, I should mention, I was at the Village of Vinton Special Council meeting this past Tuesday where they approved this item. So we're ready to execute.
Are there any comments or questions?
I just got one question. Are they a good group to work with down there? Are they things operating pretty smooth?
Yes, sir.
Planning and engineering and all that stuff?
Well, so we're doing all of the engineering, all the services for them, but the organization has been very, very good to deal with.
Okay.
They have a village administrator who's really on the ball.
Good, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm actually really happy that
yeah.
we're expanding our outreach with some of these smaller communities. I think it'll be really impactful. I was in Socorro earlier in the week, and it's so busy out there, and there's so much going on. I'm excited that we're getting more involved in helping with the infrastructure for some of these communities.
Yes, ma'am. And
So
we'll
that's a
touch
good
on
job.
another item. We'll touch
Good job.
on another item with the smaller communities later.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
I second it.
I have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, discussion and action on board resolutions authorizing the execution of amendments to the following instruments as they relate to the Tom Mays Drive Extension Project. A, work authorization number 2 with Moreno Cardenas, Inc., and B, work authorization number 49 with Atkins North America, Inc.
Okay, Raymond Tejas again, Executive Director. This item deals with Tom Mays Drive, which is an extension project that we have partnered with El Paso County on. We do have a representative from the county here if you have any questions of them. As with most agreements, we have a master interlocal agreement with the County of El Paso, which provides the funding so that we can develop the design services, and that's what we have in this case. So under item 4A, we are amending the work authorization with Moreno Cardenas, which is one of the local firms that we use through the IDC program that we've got. And we are adding survey scope and hours for additional utility coordination, more so than was originally anticipated for this particular project. The county has reviewed and approved of the amount, and that's what you have under item 4A. Item 4B then is an extension of the work authorization with Atkins to complete the additional oversight services related to the additional scope that we're adding to the design firm. So subject to your questions, I would recommend approval of this item as well.
Okay, are there any comments or questions, concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I second it.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to work authorization number 2 with ACOM Technical Services, Inc. for additional services needed for the State Loop 375 main lanes widening and frontage road ramp project.
Now, this one is a project that the RMA has partnered with TxDOT on. Actually, it's a couple of different projects down on Loop 375, roughly between the Zaragoza Port of Entry heading towards the Americas interchange. We have provided the design firms for 2 segments. One, and it was originally a singular project. TxDOT broke it into 2 projects, one for frontage roads and one for widening of the 375. And this item here is an amendment with AECOM Technical Services for the frontage road ramp improvements, and it's extending the services being provided to TxDOT for additional design services during construction. So this particular amount, this scope, has been reviewed and approved by TxDOT, and so I would recommend approval.
So we're not doing any of the construction, just the design work?
That's correct.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
Move to approve.
Have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, discussion and action on a board resolution adopting an Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan.
Good morning, Robert Studer, Director of Finance. For the record, in front of you today for approval is our transition plan as read into the record. It is required by the state per federal regulations. It's how a entity will move from non-compliance. Let's say you have a really old building that was built before, and how you're going to get there, over what time period, how much funding you're going to set aside, that sort of thing. So this is our plan. Ours is different because we don't really own much of anything, and so ours is really short. It includes 3 components: an introduction talking about the law and what we're required to do, a second component that is our self-evaluation, and then a third component about compliance, listing me as the coordinator and detailing our grievance procedure. So let's say someone was trying to access this meeting today, the elevator didn't work, and they wanted to file a complaint. They would file that complaint with me. I would then coordinate with the city, because the city is the ultimate owner of this building. Again, ours looks really different. I had a couple phone calls with someone at TxDOT that's in the program, and explained to them we don't own roads, we don't own buildings, and so just talked about how our plan is so much shorter and looks different, and they understood that. TxDOT is hosting 6 web workshops this summer to help agencies with compliance. I'm going to attend one of those and get feedback. If we have additional feedback, then we'll route that through the planning committee before we bring the full plan back to the board. With that, I would recommend your approval.
I have a question when we get to questions.
Sure.
Question.
Yes.
We take care, our responsibilities in any of that area is taken care of during the design phase, right, of whatever we do?
Right. If we were designing a project, we're not the ultimate owner of those projects, though.
Exactly.
So they would, the entities we work with, but when we are designing to ADA standards. That is correct.
Okay.
And my question is, I noticed that it says that we review it every 3 years. Is there a reason why it's 3 years?
I think you can pick 2, 3. We're doing 3. I've seen that from other plans that we looked at, and that seems to be, but we'll see what guidance is at TxDOT. We're not going to add a whole bunch of facilities in the next 3 years, whereas the city's got a big capital improvement program. They're going to build a new police station, and so they'll have to, when they do a new self-evaluation, they'll list that on there. We may have some things, but probably not, so we don't need to do it too frequently. Whereas if we were TxDOT adding new road lanes all the time, we might want to do it more frequently to be able to update our inventory.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I do recommend approval.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to item 7, discussion and possible action on staff reports. A, Public Funds Investment Act Training and Investment Policy. B, the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program, Clint and San Elizario. And C, status of the Pelicano Drive widening project.
I will take item A. So every 2 years, I'm required to take Public Funds Investment Act training. I took that in Arlington at the North Central Texas Council of Governments. In person, it was great, good discussion. I hadn't taken it in person, I guess, in 4 years. And so it was good, made good contacts with the instructor. He's really a good resource, and we've actually reached out to him in the past when we've had some questions. Out of that, though, we are going to look to possibly update our policy, and I've scheduled a meeting with the folks at the city that do the investments on our behalf now that we've cleared that hurdle. So we're going to be meeting in early June to discuss our plan and identify strategies, do a couple different things, and so we will bring that before the Finance Committee this summer and then to the full board most likely in August. The other reason we would wait until August is that any bills that get passed, we want to make sure we incorporate those and not pass a policy and then immediately have to amend it after the state legislature changes something. So we'll wait and are monitoring that. Just wanted to give you all a brief update.
We don't need to take any action? Okay. The second, item B?
Yes, ma'am. So this item deals specifically with the Community Development Block Grant Program that is administered by the Texas Department of Agriculture. And I believe I mentioned this to you all. It certainly came before the Planning Committee. We are assisting the town of Clint and the city of San Elizario in submitting applications for the Community Development Block Grant Program that TDA, the Texas Department of Agriculture, administers. And it's for a couple of smaller projects, but they're each roughly around $500,000. So we're assisting them with that. The applications have gone in May 3rd. We should hear back from TDA later this year. And hopefully if successful, we would be able to begin activities in early 2024. So we're hopeful on those. And we've submitted different projects on each of those. So that's just an update, just keeping you posted that those applications have gone in.
Rio Grande Council of Governments, how are they, are those the same? We've mentioned those with the block grants and administering for, is it the same?
It's the same program. So there's a relationship, and I'm not sure that I fully understand the relationship between TDA, the Department of Agriculture, and then the COG here locally. But we did partner with the COG on the San Eli project. So the COG is submitting as the administrator for the funds if they're successful for the San Elizario program. Whereas there's a different third-party entity that would provide those administrator services for Clint.
The Council of Governments tend, at least here, to represent communities outside the city of El Paso. And so Department of Agriculture tends to have grants for rural communities, smaller communities. And so it's a demographic type of thing. It's sort of the size of the community, geographic location. The city gets a block grant, like an urban block grant, that's separate and apart, that goes to the city. And then the county and the other jurisdictions get a pool of funds through the Council of Governments. Sometimes the Council of Governments do, like MPO, they're consolidated. Here they're separate. The MPO is a separate planning entity for transportation because the city's such a big part of it. And so the work we're doing with smaller communities, a lot of that will go through the Council of Governments because they're the repository of a lot of these funds and stuff. They're planning. They have to do a planning effort like the MPO to have a plan and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that that's working out too, that you're engaged with them in
Yes, ma'am.
developing those relationships, because I think a lot of the funds are going to come through there.
Well, in
From
fact,
the
these,
different resources.
agreed, these efforts came from the partnership that we developed with the
Yeah.
COG once the infrastructure bill dollars began flowing.
Yeah, because some of those grants will go directly to them. I mean, they'll be the vehicle for communities to get them, so we just need to pay attention to like where everything's going, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask these things that are here, the pictures, are they for another project?
Yeah, sorry, I meant to mention that earlier. There was a groundbreaking for the Tornillo North and South Shared Use Path
Okay.
that I mentioned at the last board meeting. And these were the boards that the county shared, so I thought I'd bring them and let you know. That event went really well. The county ran a really nice event. They had children from the nearby school doing dancing and that sort of thing. So it was a really nice event.
Okay, that's just for our information. There's
That's right.
nothing on the agenda.
That's right.
Okay, because I've been looking and I was like,
Yeah, sorry about that. I
No.
should have started with that.
no, that's nice. Well, when we're done, then maybe we can just kind of go through them real quickly.
Yeah, I hope you'll do that. There's some, and there's some existing completed projects that are shown and maps of what we're going to be doing under this new project. So very excited for this additional partnership with the County of El Paso.
Okay, can somebody present these before we go into the next item? Or is it not on the agenda?
It's not on the agenda.
Okay.
No, it was kind of a last minute.
All right, so when we're done and we recess, then maybe we can just kind of informally look at them and talk about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
We have these electronically, if you sent these to us at all?
No, actually, I imagine the county has electronic copies, so we can make those available to you.
That'd
These
be
are
nice,
the
yeah.
county's boards. Yeah,
Great.
we're just borrowing them. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
do that.
Speaking of which, have we had a change at the county in terms of leadership for liaison with us, the engineer?
Well, so Sal, yes,
Sal
Sal
left,
Alonso
right?
left, and so we have Daniel here from the county.
Have we
Actually,
met
maybe we could
Daniel?
have you come up and say hello. I feel like we've done that, but maybe not.
I didn't realize, I heard third party that Sal had left, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, I apologize then, yeah, please.
Hi everyone, members. My name is Daniel Marquez. I have been, well, for the last 6 years, I was a right hand from Sal Alonso.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he left the county for better. He's not in the state, so now I was formally accept his position. So now I will continue serving as a transportation program engineer for the county. Pretty much continue working on the relationship with the RMA and all the, well, I will say with the IDC and the GECs that we have on, pretty much on all the projects related to anything that has wheels or wings. We will continue working on those.
Very good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Officially. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, I apologize. So
Yeah.
we hated to lose Sal, but Daniel's been a great addition.
Good.
Yeah.
No, I saw something that he'd left, and I don't know if I meant to ask at the last meeting, I just didn't think about it, because we were focused on some other things, but anyway, thanks for the clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to item 7C, and we are going to take that in executive session.
But before we do that, if you don't mind, one of the things we committed to at the last board meeting was the idea that we provide updates to the public as well before we go into executive. So
You
if
want to
don't
do it
mind-
before?
Yes, ma'am. If I could just run through a couple items, and then we'll get into the briefing with our attorneys after that. So there are a couple of things I did want to brief. This is under item 7C, Pelicano Drive widening update. There have been some developments since our last board meeting. A lot of these came from our discussion as well. There's a relief route, as you know, that comes off of Pelicano Drive. It heads north towards Vista del Sol. That relief route was shut down while the city and developers did some certain improvements for a development that's coming online. That came back online April 22nd, which that relief route was developed solely to benefit the residents and businesses in the area while Pelicano was under construction. That was at the county's direction. So it's been very useful while Pelicano is shut down. And this, now that it's back open again, is really helping with a lot of that congestion. So we're really happy to see that open back up again. We had our folks, our engineers, go out and review the traffic light phasing and the traffic cameras specifically at two intersections. That one intersection where the relief route is, which is at Mission Ridge, and then the other intersection was at Sunfire. So we tweaked those phasing, the phasing to allow for congestion to flow a little bit better, for traffic to flow a little bit better. So we think that has helped with some of that congestion that we have out there. We've also spoken to the city of El Paso, who controls the traffic light at 375 and Pelicano, and we've asked them to adjust that phasing because it was a little bit slow. So we're hoping that the three lights being phased together will help additionally with that traffic flow as well. So we're hopeful that they will do that. They'll help out on that end. And then we've placed additional barriers Actually, we're reviewing the placement of additional barriers at the relief route and Pelicano. We think that will help with some of the congestion and some of the safety issues. Frankly, folks are going onto the shoulder and cutting and going around the street light and that sort of thing. So we're hopeful that that will help with that as well. So those are some of the traffic flow and safety issues that we've been dealing with to help traffic move. In terms of outreach, we talked a little bit about this last month. We've added a dedicated page now to our website specifically to show the public what's going on with Pelicano, and it'll be updated periodically. We developed a postcard through Barracuda PR and sent it out to over 2,000 addresses that the county provided for residents and businesses in and around Pelicano. So that went out several weeks back. And the intent of that postcard is to direct people to our website. So that website, through the first 20 some odd days, we've had just under 200 visits. So it is seeing some traffic, which is good. But I think the bigger tell that this sort of outreach is doing some good is that I've received very few calls since our last board meeting. So normally I was, in fact, the calls and the emails were starting to ramp up. After we launched the email, or excuse me, the web page, I think the public is getting the information they need from our website. So I'm reading that as a positive. Obviously, this is for public, this is open to the public, so we'll see if that's wrong and I start getting calls, I'll let you know. But that, I think, has been successfully implemented. I've also, as we've discussed, I will continue to keep Commissioners Court updated. I'm briefing them once a month in person, and then 2 weeks later, I'm providing them with written updates as well. So that'll continue.
Are they aware of the postcard and the stuff that we've been doing recently?
Yes, ma'am.
Have they reacted in terms of any feedback they've gotten?
I haven't heard anything. No, I haven't
Okay.
heard anything. But we'll see. I'll visit them again on May 22nd. So about a
Okay,
week
well,
and a half.
maybe that's helped them as well, so. Has that helped? Are you aware?
Yes, Commissioner, court has expressed information that has been provided by the RMA, free no questions. So they are pleased that the RMA is doing all these proactive things to inform the community, not just coming from the county.
Okay. Yeah, we need to take more of a lead on that since we're in charge of the project. Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's happening. In terms of the bankruptcy itself,
Question.
yes, sir.
How's the reception from Commissioners Court?
Well, so I think it's been good. You know, it's a tough subject, right? So they're not super happy about the fact that the project has been stalled out. But we've been trying to keep them apprised of everything that we've been doing. So I feel like, you know, it's respectful and they're appreciative of the information. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So in terms of the bankruptcy itself, we have filed a motion to lift the stay, the bankruptcy stay, which we discussed last month. So that has been filed. And there was it turns out the pushing of this meeting has kind of worked out for us. We had a status, the bankruptcy court had a status conference yesterday in which the motion to lift stay from the RMA was raised. And the opposing side, JAR's attorney, did not object to the lifting of the stay. So that was a very positive development that we heard yesterday. So right now, our attorneys are working have reached out to JAR's attorneys, and we're going to be working on an agreed order. And that agreed order may go to a hearing as early as May 23rd. So if we achieve that, or if we, once we work that agreed order out, we can take that back to the bankruptcy court here pretty quickly. So that's the latest on the bankruptcy. But I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I think we can head into executive session for a little more detailed discussion with our attorneys in consultation.
Any other questions for the record? Okay, that being the case, the time is 11:26 a.m. It's May 12th, 2023, and the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors will now retire into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for the purpose of consultation with attorney. We will reconvene an open meeting upon conclusion of the executive session. So those of you who do not need to be here. Do we keep the county rep here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then, thank you very much. And then Raymond will update you on anything that we can discuss once we conclude with our attorney, okay?
Just one last thing. The RMA has been doing an excellent job communicating the county any recent updates. We usually have a call with Raymond once per week to discuss multiple projects, and of course, Pelicano being the main one. So I appreciate that from the RMA, keeping the county posted. What we have been doing internally is to relate to the commissioner's court as well to our directors that is the county doesn't have a final say so because the county is not the one with agreement with with JAR at this moment. So we have emphasized that multiple times, and we will continue trying to relay or provide a proper communication between the RMA to those individuals. So thank you for that.
Sure, and I just want to reinforce that we're doing everything we can to really push this forward so that we can get the project done.
No, we understand. We have emphasized to the community as well to the Commissioner's Court that the RMA is working to properly, I would say, to compensate, not the county, but the taxpayers, because we don't want for one moment that the contractor is released without any, I would say, implications to this project. So
Yes.
pretty much we are ensuring that the project will be completed, and of course we have to emphasize this is a process that we have to follow, and most important that we have to be really patient.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, it's now 12:34 PM on May 12, 2023, and the board has concluded deliberations in closed session under Texas Government Code Section 551.071. We will now adjourn this closed meeting and reconvene in open session. It is now 12:35 PM on May 12, 2023, and the Board of Directors of the RMA is reconvening its open meeting after deliberations in executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071. The board consulted with its attorney but took no action in executive session. We have concluded item 7. There's no other executive session actions on the agenda. There's no other business, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
We've got 12:35.